Welcome to Sessions with Coach April, where real conversations meet real solutions. I'm one of your hosts, April Hogan, and I'm joined by
Your other host, Cass Wolfer.
absolutely. So today we're talking about the mental shift from employee to CEO because you can't scale with the same brain you used to survive. So before we hop in our topic, I gotta ask, how are you doing today, Cass?
I am amazing. Sorry, I'm still trying to figure out this do not disturb thing you told me about on my computer, and I can't figure it out.
I'm gonna have to show you after
But
this.
I'm doing great though. It's a beautiful day. Outside of everything that's going on with like hurricanes and stuff, I'm in a really good space right now. Like I have no complaints. I'm really operating from a place of just gratitude and being grateful and opening myself to receive all the new opportunities and blessings. So yeah, I'm great. How are you?
I am amazing. I'm excited. I have a couple of things coming up through the rest of the year. So just excited to like partake, be a part. I love the holidays. Christmas is my favorite holiday. You know that more than anybody because you make fun of me about it. I'm excited about everything to just kind of like flow through the rest of the year. So I'm excited
Yeah.
about that. So, again, we're going to jump into the topic. So, first, thinking like a CEO is the topic, and I was about to take your question, but you can have it.
Many of us start business ownership still thinking like employees. So, what are some signs that someone's still operating from survival mode instead of strategic mode?
That was my question,
It
wasn't
was
it?
your question, but
I
you told me to
slowed
take
down a
it.
little bit too far. Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So, all right, let me reread it because I wasn't paying attention because I realized it. All right. So many of us start business. I'm going to read it and you answer. Many of us start business ownership thinking like employees. What are some signs that someone's still operating from survival mode instead of strategic mode? All right, you go.
I think it's when they're struggling to get a good foot to get ahead, right? So, a lot of times when you're just in survival mode, you're just like you're reacting, right? You're not being proactive, you're just reacting. And that's a strong sign that you don't have a solid plan to move forward and that you probably need some help in some areas to get to the point of thinking like in a strategic leader. If you're just reacting to everything that happens, because then there's no time for you to plan ahead. Everything's just reactionary. And that doesn't, I've seen firsthand. I used to work for a company, I won't say who it is, where everything was reactionary. From how the employees acted to how leadership acted, it was really a trickle down effect. And everything was so reactionary that it almost felt like we were behind the curve on everything. And there was just no type of forward progress being made. Unfortunately, it's still going on. And they're just getting lucky. And that's not a way to operate. That will stress you out faster than anything.
Absolutely, absolutely. I will say the difference between having an employee mindset and entrepreneur mindset as an entrepreneur, because this is our only like. Listen, we don't make money unless your business is operating, right? So we don't just think for the moment, we think ahead. So typically, we're setting strategic goals for the month, strategic goals for the quarter, strategic goals for the year. We need to know how our business is going to operate. What is our game plan? So that way we know how to do what's next, right? And doesn't mean that it's going to go exactly like that. Something could go wrong, get you, but then we're not going to we're going to say, hey, what went wrong and how and why, and we're going to revamp and we're going to reset and we're going to do all those things. Um, Especially when you run a business and you're not a solo, you're not like solo, it's just you, right? When you have a
Mhm.
team and you have people who now have to like, you have to be able to understand like these people, they need raises, these people need, there's things that you want to be able to expand to give more to the people who are supporting your company. And if you don't have a plan and a goal and a way to get to certain spaces in your business, especially since society is consistently costing more money, you know what I'm saying? Like, the difference between an employee kind of works on a day to day as tasks come, or a week by week, or that type of thing, where an entrepreneur has to actually plan way ahead. And I'm not talking about,
Mhm.
okay, this week this is how much money we want to make, and next week, no, I need to know for the quarter, what is my goal for the quarter,
Yeah.
honestly, before when we start the year, what is our goal amount of money we're trying to make for the year. And then I'm going to break it into quarters based on, hey, like this is our busy season, this is our slower season, how do I spread this out, how do I make it all make sense when we're doing something, like what is our goal plan, so that's the difference of thinking like an entrepreneur and thinking in strategic mode as opposed to just thinking like a day-to-day employee, because those things don't impact you. They do impact you, but you're not really the one having to figure those things out. So that's my answer.
Yeah. So if someone's struggling to trust their own leadership, how do they start retraining that employee mindset to think like a visionary?
So I would say first books, coaching, consulting, I always say like there's so much knowledge in books that you read or having a mentor, right? There is nothing wrong with hiring a coach. Okay, so I would say I'm a consultant. I used to be a coach, but every now and then I offer coaching services. But I have a coach, and I have a coach that is way better than me, and it's hard for me to say anybody's better than me. So,
She's a
but
Leo.
right. So there's a lot of things that I didn't know until I got my coach, and not necessarily like know about my business or anything like that, but even just the way that I should look at things. Like understand what kind of coach you need. I don't need a coach who's going to tell me, hey, your dreams are too big or the things you want to do are impossible. I need the coach who catches it before me. Like, well, look, you should be doing this. Yeah, I should be doing that. Right. And then build a strategy behind it. So a coach, there's nothing wrong with a coach. I think coaches are so important. People, and then again, not having feeling like I'm by myself. Solutions architect, you need to get you a solutions architect so that way you don't feel like you're on an island by yourself and someone's in your business filling those gaps for you. So A-Rich Innovations, if you wanted to know where to find me. So with that being said, yeah, I think it's understanding that you should never stop learning. So if there's an area you're struggling in and you're trying to like trust your own leadership, read, do like different workbooks, like even there are books that you can read about emotional intelligence, about leading a certain way, and then a lot of them have workbooks that you can do and just be honest in your workbooks. Like be honest, like so that way you can help assess where you're at and where you need to be at. What about you? What are your thoughts?
I agree. So along with making sure that you have a coach and still continuing to learn, right? Because a lot of people will still continue to learn, but they don't apply that learning. So you have to still continue to learn, but then you have to apply what you've learned. And you know this because of, like you said, a lot of your business is, family and, I'm saying, things like that. It's being able to separate the business from the personal. And that's one thing that a coach will tell you, but you can't become a visionary until you can separate those two. Because there are a lot of people who have businesses and they hire people they know. And then because they know those people, it keeps them from saying, this got to change. This has to be different. We need to do this to get to the next level. And they keep people where they're comfortable at. You have to learn how to operate outside of those comfort zones. You have to. Otherwise, you're still going to stay stuck. If you're thinking as an employee, somebody's like, I'm going to go to work and somebody's going to pay me whether I do the work or not. They don't care about if I grow or not. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here to collect my check. If you're a visionary, you can't think like that. Because the company is you ain't collecting no check.
Ain't no check.
When you work for somebody, just be like, I'm just getting paid. Even if you have, we've seen people who've been COOs who are just like, I'm a contractor, I'm getting a check. I don't really care if you succeed or not. You got money, I know you got money, I'm gonna spend it. That doesn't work, no matter what. And that's why I think I appreciate the bridge method that I created, by the way, that starts with the people first strategy, because you kind of give everybody the empowerment and the mindset of being a visionary in the company. That way everybody's bought in, everybody understands that if the business doesn't succeed, I don't succeed. If the business is not growing, I can't grow. I can't expand. You want everybody thinking like, this is my company. Yeah. Even if I ain't making big time decisions or signing nobody's check, this is my company. I'm responsible for how my department grows, how I can contribute to the overall big picture. That's how you get everybody to buy in and think like a visionary. You don't just limit people to, you're just an employee. You don't matter. You're just a number. You don't matter. Everybody should feel like a visionary in your company.
Absolutely.
Is it my question?
Yeah, it is your question.
So what's the biggest mental block? Because now we're talking about thinking like a CEO. What's the biggest mental block that keeps entrepreneurs stuck managing tasks instead of building systems?
We talked about this in one of our other episodes, is that I'm the only one who can do it. So I got to do it, So like, and I actually had this problem, right? Like, I had it, man, I had it for a while. I'm the one who does it. So instead of like having someone manage a whole project, I'm going to give you pieces of every project, right? Because then I'm still managing the entire project and then just giving pieces. And a lot of time it wasn't that I didn't trust people. A lot of times it was just like, man, as much time as it's going to take to teach and then review and do all that, and I got so much to do, I don't have time. But then honestly, that's why I don't have time. Because I'm trying to do all those things where really if I say, hey, like, all right, this project is yours. And then if you need my help, come to me. And if you know who to delegate it to in the company. And if you don't ask, ask me and I'll help you. But this is your project, right? This is your thing. And then taking those extra times to be like, all right, so like we're gonna learn how to do this and we're gonna sit and we're gonna learn it as a team, or we're gonna, development is so important. So I think one of the biggest things, and again, we've talked about this, is just the fear of no one's going to do it like I do it. You have to find a way to have people buy in, like people to know that, hey, like this is not the only space, right? Like it's easy to say, okay, I have a role in the company, but if you don't see growth, what's the sense of like doing anything additional? Like you said earlier, like everybody feeling like they're a visionary or they have a piece of it, right? That comes from seeing where they can go, where they can be, not even just that, where's the company going? Like if this is going to be our everyday, all day, all the time, what are we working towards? Right. So like when people understand those type of things and they are bought in, then yeah, it makes more sense to be like, okay, well, I'm in, I'm helping, so I think that's the biggest thing is just understanding like, hey, like in order for your company to really grow, you have to get past the mental block of, I'm going to be, even if it's not, I'm going to do everything. I'm going to be the project management for every project. That can't happen. Like it absolutely cannot happen. Like I even sometimes get mad now when clients ask me stuff and I'm like, that's not my department. You know who does that. Go ask them.
Right.
Or, hey, can you be on the call? No, I'm on every other call. I don't need to be on that call. I don't even know what's going on. I'm on for no reason. So it's just trusting your team enough to know like, hey, like they have your best interest. So I don't need to be there. Right. So that's what I would say is just knowing how to give that stuff away and then step the hell out of it.
Yeah. So a long time ago when I worked in healthcare, we had to do this project and then the whole company had to do it because we had to get certified on a national level for a certain amount of service where doctors could get a kickback for services they were providing. And we only had a short amount of time to get certified. So I was part of the management team. I got this idea from like a random kid book that I had read to Shane, I think it was, and it was about how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. So that was our motto for trying to figure out this project was how are we going to do it one bite at a time like you would eat an elephant, right? But it was so childish, but it's so prevalent in a lot of things, especially when it comes to mindsets with entrepreneurs and CEOs, because we can't take on everything at once. It's like eating an elephant. You have to do it one bite at a time. Like you got to go one step at a time. You break down that step into measurable outcomes, you know what I'm saying, and how you can do it and you can measure it. And then you do that, you accomplish it. Okay, go on to the next step. Kind of like how we do when we do our, our goal planning and we break it down into like 6 things that we got to break down and then we go from there. You can't do everything at one time. You have to break it down into measurable steps that you can take safely and you can finish it and then move on to the next one. It's so easy to just think that, I'm just going to do it all and I'm going to do it this way. You have to be able to delegate. You have to get everybody to buy in and contribute to the process because there's no way you can do everything by yourself and not expect to get anywhere and succeed at least.
I did have a time where Kenneth was like, I really don't know what I do. Like, I know you just give me stuff. So I come to you every day because I really don't know what to do. To know now seeing where he's at right now, where it's just like, I'm gonna be like, is he here? Yeah, he's here except they're working. Okay. So it definitely is a different feeling. And even like the different things, like when we changed the dress code, like first it was a complaint. I think now he understands, right? Like, so it's like when you buy in and you actually feel like you matter in the company, it does start to be like, okay, like certain little thing. Okay, I got it. You know what I'm saying? So how can someone start it? I don't know what's wrong with me in the questions. How can someone start creating CEO level routines that prioritize strategy over busy work?
Well, the first thing they have to know is where they're going, right? Like you said, in another episode, you have a coach that kind of foreshadows things for you, like, well, you should be doing this. If you don't know where you're going, you don't know what to plan for. You're just literally just finding things to do while you're in the midst of chaos. And that doesn't help you. You need somebody to say, this is where, or even if you have your own vision of where you want to go, you need to break that down, like I said, into measurable steps to be like, this is how I'm going to get there.
Mm-hmm.
If you're just guessing, you ain't never going. I'm not saying you won't ever figure it out, because you could guess and get lucky. But it's going to be a whole lot more chaotic versus if you have somebody who's helping you along and helping you clear out those weeds to see clearly where you're trying to get to. That's the most important thing. Have a vision and a way to get there, and then get started.
Absolutely. So my CEO, I'm not going to say her name right now, but eventually we're going to have her on. What did I say? Did I say my CEO or my coach?
You said your CEO.
My coach. My CEO is God. My Jesus, Lord and Savior. But my coach, one of the things she's been telling me lately is like, you don't make anybody guess your story, right? And she gave me a scenario where a man came up with a story in his mind, and then he wrote it, and then he wrote down to the last sentence, and he folded over, and then he has to pass it to somebody to continue the story. But all they get to see is the last sentence. And then they have to write some, and then they do the same thing. They pass it, but the next person gets to see the last sentence. And it's like his original story ended up being something that had nothing to do with what he was talking about. But that's why you don't allow people the option to interpret your story. You need to make sure you have a very clear story. And like for me, again, I've had my company for a very long time, 16 plus years. Yeah, 16 plus years. It's transitioned a lot since then. But at a point now where it's like I knew where I was going, but now knowing like what my complete story is, right? Like it makes a huge difference. So that part of like you saying knowing where it is you're going, but then taking pieces of it and whether it's distributing it, whether it's like, hey, like Q1 year 2026, this is the focus. Q2 2026, this is the focus. And just kind of working your way until you get to that goal is really important. So with that being said, we're getting ready to go to a break. So shifting into CEO mindset is about freedom, not frenzy. We will be right back after this quick break to talk about what true leadership looks like when your vision finally leads that way. We'll see you in a minute.
Congratulations, you're a home-based business owner. Freedom, flexibility, and your living room is HQ. It's the dream, right? But just because you work from home doesn't mean the world should know it. Your home address doesn't belong on business registrations, public records, or client invoices. At Rich Innovations, we protect your business and your privacy with our virtual mailbox services. Get a real business address, secure mail handling and digital access without ever leaving home. Separate your personal life from your business. Stay compliant, look professional, and protect your home and your brand. Your address matters. Sign up for your virtual mailbox today.
All right, everybody, welcome back to Sessions with Coach April. So let's dive into how you start walking in that CEO energy every single day. So we're going to talk about leading with vision.
All right, so what does it look like when a leader finally stops doing and starts directing?
It looks like clarity. It looks like they are ready to get people to trust them. Because I think what a lot of people don't realize in business, all people have is your word, especially when you're just starting out, right? Because if you're a startup company, they don't have results. They don't have, a work portfolio or years of success to look back over. All they have is your word. They have your energy, the clarity you bring them about your vision. That's all they have to buy into. So if you're not leading with clarity and they can't trust you, it's going to be a whole lot harder to get them to buy into where you're trying to go. They're gonna be like, what the heck is he talking about? How do we know we can trust this person? Like, what are we doing here? It's going to seem chaotic all the time. So having that clarity is the biggest key to getting people to trust you and getting them to buy into what you're selling. You can't do one without the other. It's so easy to be like, I'm going to start a business and I'm going to do this and we're going to do this. We're going to make so much money. That's the American dream. That's what everybody wants. That would be amazing if everybody could accomplish that. But you got to get people to buy in first. And if they can't trust you, I tell my kids this all the time, if people can't trust you, if they already think that you're a liar, you're not going to do it, you can't come through, they don't have any other proof except for your word. When people say word is bond, that's true. All people have is your word. So you got to give them something to make them be like, okay, yes, I'll follow you. That's what a good leader does.
Absolutely. So I think, in addition to that, of what it does for the people, what it does for you as a leader, is it helps you grow. It
Yeah.
helps you scale. So if you can stop doing so much and start directing. So I was at an event with Jeff Hoffman back in August. And if you don't know who Jeff Hoffman is, he is the guy who created all the kiosks inside the airport where you can get your ticket instead of standing in line. He also did Priceline, Booking.com. He's the developer of those things. So one of the things he said that he enjoyed was going into his office one day, and he walked into the marketing meeting and they were like, "What are you doing here?" He's like, "I'm here to help with the marketing meeting." I'm like, "We don't need you. Please go play golf or something." He's like, "Golf?" So he walks out of the marketing meeting. He goes into the finance meeting. They stop. "What are you doing?" "I'm here to help with the finance meeting." "We don't need you. Go play golf." And he walked into one other meeting. I forget which one it was. And they basically said the same thing. So he's like, "Well, I mean, I don't really know what to do. I guess I'll go play golf." But the thing is to have your business run, and not because they don't want you around, but it's like, we got it already. We got it. Like, you're not coming really adding much because you've taught us everything you need to teach us, and we got it from here, right? So like that piece that says, hey, when you finally stop doing and directing, it creates freedom. That's what you opened your business for. Not just financial freedom, but also freedom of time, freedom of your energy, right? Because you're paying people to be able to do it for you, and you've taught them how to do it well, which means your company is thriving, which means you're paying them pretty handsomely, right? And that's the goal, is to get to a point to where, hey, I release some stuff so I can actually give stuff away, and they got it, and I can innovate, and I can do other things because they're running the company, they're operating the company, because that's what I allowed them to be able to do, because I was able to stop doing and give some stuff away. So that's my answer to that question.
Absolutely. So how can our listeners practice CEO thinking today, even if they're still working solo? Because a lot of people are just getting started. They don't have a big staff.
Okay, so then I guess my first thought is I already said towards the beginning of the call, you're creating strategies. One thing I used to do before I started hiring is I started looking at, okay, how much money I gotta make till I can hire? Like, if I need to pay my person this much, even if it's part-time, how much do I need to make in order to be able to hire? And then when I hire, what would I have that person do? What would make my life easier? What would give me time to focus on these things so this person can handle this, and they're actually helping me make money? And not because they're doing sales, but they're helping me make money because it's freeing up my time to actually innovate or sell or do whatever. And they're doing this piece of it, right? So if your plan is like, hey, I'm at a point that I want to grow, then this is a good time. We're about to move into 2026. Look at your year. Look at, okay, this is how much I'm making right now. This is how much I need to be making to be able to pay at least one person this amount of money, either part-time or full-time. Then take it a step further. To pay 2 people, to pay 3 people, and then put a plan together quarter by quarter. How many new clients do I need to have in order to make this happen? Or how do I need to raise my prices to get it to a point that I can do this? But remember, when you raise your prices, that means you need to make sure you can deliver, right? Mm-hmm. But how can I get to a point that I'm raising my prices to where because my company is valuable to people, right? What I do is valuable to people. So what can I do to make sure that I can have this? And then I'm game planning. And then after I game plan, I'm hitting the ground running. I'm doing what I got to do those things, whether it's I need to automate some things. I'm going to automate this stuff so that way, that's your first employee automation. I'm automating some stuff to make my life easier. And that way I can get leads in faster. I can have customer communications happen faster, those type of things. That's going to free up some of my time. So now I can start doing these things to make money, to make connections, to network, to whatever, to bring in more people, to make this money now to say, hey, I'm hiring somebody. So I would say, like, to answer the question, what can you start doing today? Be strategic, start planning, start figuring out what that looks like now, and then start working towards it. We already talked about the difference between an employee and someone and a CEO. Is part of it is strategy. Mm-hmm. You have to create that strategy. Even when you think of something like Monopoly, when you play Monopoly, you don't just play, not the good people. You don't just play. You play on strategy. You play spades, you're playing with strategy. You're just figuring out, okay, I know I'm not going to lay out this spade until somebody lays out this card, because I know otherwise they can hit me, because I know somebody's got it and I don't have it, right? Like you're actually strategizing in those games. Same thing with your company. Strategize and then start putting your plan in action. But just like spades, the card might come out sooner than you think, right? And you may miss it. And then you got to regame, right? You got to figure out what the new game plan is. It's the same thing with your company. Do that with your strategy. What about you?
Yes, you need strategy. That is very important, but you also need systems. Because, I mean, as you and I both know, sometimes when you're the only person in the company, it's easy to just do things, right? You just do it. You don't think about it. You don't write it down. You just do it because you're used to doing it. You're the only person who can do it. And then by the time you go to hire somebody, now you got to take time out to sit next to them and train them and show them how to do it and hope they're writing it down. We do this all the time, right? SOPs. Yes, I know it's tedious, but as you're doing it and you're developing how you want it done, even if they come up with their own way later, come up with a system that's easily teachable and something that's replicable. That's how you say it, right? Repeatable. You know what I'm trying to say. Something that's repeatable that you can put into a system that you can just hand it to anybody and go, I need you to do this. And they can just word by word go through and repeat it. And they can keep doing it because you might not have time to sit next to them for weeks at a time to train them on how to do something. But if you can give them a little bit of foundation and then hand them a template or a manual that says, do it this way, this is how you're going to get results, then you ain't got to sit next to them. And that's time you're not wasting on training somebody and being hands-on for 90 days where they can just watch, like follow your system and just do it. You have to take time to put those systems in place. It's very essential.
Yeah, and it's a way to train, because people are going to come on and they're not going to know what to do without some type of training mechanism, right? And even if the thought is, okay, well, they're eventually going to figure out how to do it their way, you still have a standard that says, okay, even if you do it your way, these things need to be done in your way. It doesn't have to go the way that I said to do it, but like, this is the checklist of stuff that has to be done to make sure that you're following the brand image. We're making sure we're doing quality assurance. We're, all of those different things. So yeah, that's very important to have systems and processes and all of those things in any business, even if it's just you, because how do you take a break if nobody knows how to do the stuff in your business? And then also for your own brand image, how do you make sure you're doing things the same way every time if you don't have a system or a way to do it? So you should have a playbook that says, hey, like to run my business, if I go sick or I go ill or something happens, this is what you do. I actually had somebody say one time in a meeting, because I said something about that. Well, but I cook, can't nobody cook like me. So then I'm just stuck. No, you're not. You have a recipe. Like you can even make a video. They got YouTube videos all over. Like, create a video of exactly how you want it done. Like it's not a skill that can't be learned. You can have another good cook who can still make it like you. You know what I'm saying? Like they may have like a little piece that's like, okay, they folded it a little different, whatever. But the overall concept is that, right?
Yeah.
Even coaching and stuff. Oh, well, no, well, I'm a coach, so it's my personality. Yeah, but there's still systems in how you coach. Like you need to have a written plan on how you coach, how your sessions go, what's expected, that type of thing. And then you can teach somebody else how to run them, right? So that's that. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and do our closing segment and our takeaways. So mine is your business can't outgrow your mindset.
I love that one. And mine is lead like the future is already yours, because it is.
It is. It is. So with that being said, I want to tell you first, thank you for coming to watch Sessions with Coach April. We love to have you here. Next time on our next new show, we're going to be showing you how to buy back your peace with girl. Get out of the grind. I don't like that word. Grind. Get out of the grind. So until next time, we will see you later. You have a good one.
Bye, y'all.